This is Ecclesiastes, aka Sirach 9 and 15 through 16. Let that talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. And let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. I want to start off giving infinite honors, glory, and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostle, elder bishops, great millstone, rule well, teaches His truth 100%, no cut. Double shalom and salutation that I can push the word across the four winds and true faith and sincerity given all diligence. We'll just get into a quick lesson out of Warren Ratazah Lord's will. It's edifying and to the point. Just getting into something just meditating on, man, through the spirit. Just wisdom, giving us consistency in what we teach and what we preach. Ultimately in our speech. And this truth giving us stability, man. They both go together. Walking it how you talk it. Okay, and that comes from, us fearing the Lord blessing us with the Rakakwadash, His name, His only begotten Son's name, okay, and also growing, maturing in the spirit by way of what? Conducting ourselves according to as it is written, man. Okay, how we deal amongst each other, how we're learning from one another, okay, from our apostle, elder bishops on down, and even learning from younger brothers, because we all have, qualities and characteristics that we can learn from one another. We bring to the table, okay, different talents, okay, different points of views and perspectives of things that all come together to make what? The body, man. Okay, again, going back to the talents, man, having different members. We all can grow and mature from one another, and that's what we're constantly supposed to be doing. Okay, that's why I started off with, let men that converse in the spirit, and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah eat with thee. Men that's wise in the fear of the Lord, man. Okay, because we learn from one another, we grow from one another. I was just roughly paraphrasing that, but that's the essence of it. So that comes with what? We having to listen to one another. Okay, be patient with one another. All right, being humble, meek. Okay, understanding of one another, man. Okay, this is Sirach, Ecclesiastes, aka Sirach 27 and 11. It say the discourse of a godly man is always with wisdom. But a fool changes as the mood, man, not consistent, not stable. Okay? Their speech, is not adding up to their conduct. Their conduct is not adding up to their speech. And this truth, it has to be both. Okay, again, this wisdom giving us consistency, okay, and what we teach, what we preach, ultimately what we speak, and this truth, okay, giving us that stability. All right, to stand on what we speak, what we teach, man. Okay, to be about it, man, and not to be a contradiction. Okay, we say one thing but do another. We do one thing and say another. No, man, it has to go hand in hand, man. Okay, that's why it says again, the discourse of a godly man is always with wisdom, always, man. Okay, because what? He fears the Lord, man, consistently, man. Because the scriptures say, and what that is, Sirach, the first chapter, the root of wisdom is the fear of the Lord is the root of wisdom, man. So therefore what? You're going to always be conversing and in the communication and conversation with men, godly men that you can learn from, you can grow from. And that comes with what? We having to listen to one another, learn from one another, not letting pride or envy or, any, carnal goddamn distractions, okay, or interruptions, interrupt, man. Okay, the gathering of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah's men. Okay, and let's get this real quick. This is James 1 and 19, the Amplified Bible, and it reads, "Understand this, my beloved brothers and sisters. Let everyone be quick to hear, be a careful, thoughtful listener, slow to speak, a speaker of carefully chosen words, and slow to anger, patient, reflective, and forgiving, man." Those are all qualities of the spirit, man. Okay, that's all the fruits of the spirit, man. Actually being there and being that sponge, soaking it in, man. Okay, growing from one another, coming together, bringing ideas to the table and building off of it, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Okay, that's the whole point in this, man. Growing in the spirit and the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. That's the unity. Okay, the scriptures say what is a beautiful thing when brothers, come together in unity. Roughly paraphrasing it, man. Okay. That's the thing about it, man. It's all rooted on the fear of the Lord, man. That's what brings us and keeps us together, man. Okay, and sincerity and wisdom and truth, consistency. Okay, and stability, man. Okay, again, this wisdom, what? Promoting what? A consistent speech, what we teach, preach. Okay, and the wisdom, this truth, what? The stability, man. And they both go hand in hand, man. It's rooted from the fear of the Lord again. All right. This is Proverbs 15:28, the Amplified Bible. It says, the heart of the righteous thinks carefully about how to answer, man. Okay, you in the situation, you at the table, we breaking bread, we eating, we communicating. Okay. All right. So what? So like that damn noise threw me off, damn dude. It says, the heart of the righteous thinks carefully about how to answer in a wise and appropriate and timely way, man. You're not rash with your speech. Okay, you know how to listen. You know how to hold them, as they say in the world, and fold them, man. Okay, you know when to speak, when not to speak. Okay, you know when to give advice, when not to, man. Okay, that's wisdom. That's maturity, man. Okay, it says, but the babbling mouth of the wicked pours out malevolous things, man. What? Unruly. Okay, unmoral, wicked, evil. Okay, speaking and talking shit, things that don't build nothing, man. Carnality and all, man. All right, we come together. Okay, we are what? To build in the spirit, to edify one another. Okay, eating and drinking don't mean every time we come together we gonna eat. But no, through the spirit we supposed to eat, regardless, man. Okay, whether we're cooking for one another or cooking together, okay, physical food, or whether it's the conversation, man. Okay, building, you know, our testimonies through the week, through the days. Okay, using it as what? A point of edification, of building, feeding, of how we've got through a certain experience, a certain test, a certain trial, how the Lord got us through it. Let me clean that up. How the Lord got us through a certain particular trial, okay, a test. All right, that's all edification. That's all building. Conversing in the scriptures, comparing spiritual things, man. Okay, building, man. All right. This is Proverbs 12:18, and not destroying. Amplified Bible says, there is one who speaks rashly like thrust of a sword. All right, just don't have no control. Just quick to just cut you off in conversation. Quick to just, you know, just attack your character, whatever the case may be, man. Okay, just rash with their speech. Okay, destroying what's being built. Okay, off topic. You know, brothers conversing together. You know, and then you got this particular, you know, person. You know, or people. You would say people. You know, because it ain't even brothers, but it happens sometimes, or it didn't happen. You know, but you be building in a conversation, and you had this one individual just come out of nowhere and just mess the whole conversation up, change the channel, so to speak. You know, we are to what? To continue to flow, man, flow in the spirit, man. Okay, build off one another. It ain't about me, okay, or you. No, it's about Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. It's about us building in the spirit and unity of Yahweh Shah, man. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, man. It says, but the tongue of the wise brings healing, man. Okay, what? We heal one another through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Conversations that's soothing. Okay, that flows. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that builds, that adds to you, man. Okay. Salaki, and we're going to end it with this. This is Ephesians 4:14 through 15, the Amplified Bible. It says, so that we are no longer children, spiritually immature, tossed back and forth like ships on a stormy sea, and carried about by every wind of shifting doctrine teachings, you know, whether it's how you was brought up in the world, or, you know, whatever the case may be, different things that, you know, you working on with yourself. That's a doctrine within itself, man. Okay, leaning upon your own understanding, what you feel and what you think. That's a self-taught, you know, Babylonian way, man. Okay, that leads to what? Destruction. Nah, man, we are supposed to what? Trust in the Lord with all our heart, man. Okay, it says, by the cunning and trickery of unscrupulous men, by the deceitful scheming of people ready to do anything for personal profit, man. We are to be selfless in this truth, not selfish. All right, selfishness is immaturity, man. Okay, it's just like a child that wants to get his way. Okay, all the time, you know, just selfish, man. Don't have that understanding, but as we continue to grow in this ministry, we are what? To gain that understanding of what being selfless. Okay, thinking more about the person next to you, in front of you, behind you, than yourself, man. And then that chain of command goes through, man, because the Lord say what? Treat thy neighbor as thyself, man. Okay. Love thy neighbor as thyself. So if we all in that same mindset, it don't matter what position you in, what role you play, man. We all in the spirit of Yahweh Shah, you know, loving each other as we love ourselves, man. Everything is going to work out perfectly, man. Okay. To the benefit of the ministry. Okay. It says, but speaking the truth in love in all things, both our speech, see, that wisdom being consistent, It brings what consistency in our speech. It says both our speech and our lives expressing His truth, man. The truth, what being that stability. All right. It say, let us grow up in all things into Him. Who is that Him? Yahweh Shah. Following His example, Yahweh Shah, who is the head of Mashiach, man. All right. So that's the thing about it, man. We have to make sure, okay, that what we speak, okay, is flowing by way of what? Wisdom. We consistent in what we speak, what we teach, what we preach, you know, in our speech and wisdom. Okay, Salakia, this truth. We stable in it, man. Our foundation. And it all goes together. You know, the root of wisdom is what? The fear of the Lord, man. Okay, the fear of the Lord is the root of wisdom. Salakia. I keep getting too interchanged, but that's the point, though, man. I stand, you know, in order. Okay, stand in a constant groove of growing, maturing, man. Considering one another, man. Making sure that our speech adds up to our works, man, to our lives, man. Okay, and our lives add up to our speech, man, one and the same. You know, but I ain't gonna keep rambling on. Lord willing, this was edifying and to the point.